evening, you all. So, I'm going to do one more of these tonight because, again, I'm bored. This time I'm going to explain to you what this guy, Roaring Moon EX, does, because this deck, doesn't exist anymore in format because it lost one of its very, essential pieces to working, being Dark Patch. But I figured out how to make it work again, and I am so happy that I get to play my deck again one last time before it rotates here in April. So I'm going to explain to you guys how this functions and what's my method behind playing Roaring Moon EX / I don't want to call it Ancient Box, but an ancient deck. So first and foremost, we've got the big guy himself, Roaring Moon EX. I'll use the regular one so people can actually read him. His first attack, Frenzied Gouging, isn't really an attack. Knock out your opponent's active Pokemon. That, no joke, is unprotected by anything. Except for Toad's Cruel, which shuts down effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon, and Mist Energy. And nothing but Iron Thorn's Crustle, and apparently sometimes Charizard runs that. Now, granted, it also does 200 damage to itself. But if you use it properly, it can mess over your opponent. Knocking out a attacker that they have been setting up all game, knocking out a very crucial supporting Pokemon on the bench, knocking out a random 3-prizer, and taking 3 prize cards for an exchange of 2 is just incredibly powerful. And it's worth the 3 energies. And then its second attack, I don't know why I put it down, does 100 damage for the exact same attack cost. And it does 120 more if you discard a Stadium and play, which can also mess over some cards, like, for instance, Neutralization Zone. You get rid of that, those baby Pokemon are no longer protected. Wugtrio players, fear me. Secondly, for a backup attacker, you have Baby Roaring Moon, I have 2 of them, which does 70 damage for 2 Dark Energies, and does 10 more damage for every Ancient Pokemon in your discard pile. You're pretty much going to be using this for late game cleanup, after you've used all your Sada's Vitalities, after you've used all of your Ancient Booster Capsules, after you've used all of your Explorer's Guidance. Really, after you're out of options, and you need a quick bring up boss and swing for knockout for game attacker. It can swing for some pretty big numbers too, because, 70, you're immediately one-shotting quite a few different things. Like, you're one-shotting the new Alakazam that everyone's been playing as of late. I have quite a few friends who are playing it. And for a minimal amount of extra Pokemon, or extra ancient cards in your discard pile, you can even swing for knockout on things like Gardevoir EX. Granted, you're hitting for weakness, but that's beside the point. You're still swinging for really, really big numbers. Then, I run 2 copies of Pecharunt EX, which its ability, Subjugating Chain. Once during your turn, you may switch up one of your bench Dark Pokemon, except for Pecharunt EX. So if it's on the bench, and you use Subjugating Chain, you cannot bring up Pecharunt EX. Any of them. If you have 2, and you use this one's ability, you can't bring this one up. You have to bring up a Dark. Another Dark Pokemon. And, of course, it poisons Pokemon in the process, but let's say you're using a Roaring Moon EX with a Ancient Booster Capsule attached, which, as long as it's attached to an Ancient Pokemon, shuts off all status conditions. You're no longer going to be worried about the poison. And it can be used as a late-game attacker with Irritating Outburst, which is 60 damage or 60 times the amount of prize cards your opponent has taken, meaning you can be swinging for 300 with this guy. It's pretty much also just used as a quick backup attacker, like the Baby Roaring Moon is. Then, I run a single copy of Squawkabilly EX, which is literally here for one purpose, to squawk and seize. To discard my hand and draw 6 during my first turn, if it's necessary. If I have a good hand, I don't want to discard it, this guy won't even touch the field. He will literally be here for Ultra Ball or Earthen Vessel discard fodder. That's all he is here for. Pretty much same thing with Mega Kangaskhan EX. He is here to be switched into the active with another one of its partner Pokemon, Latias EX, because it gives all basic Pokemon free retreat cost. Meaning, if I have a Roaring Moon in the active, I can just retreat it with, if I have Latias in play for no energies, bring up Mega Kangaskhan EX, use its ability Run Errand, which lets me look at the top, or draw the top 2 cards of my deck. Meaning I get 2 additional resources, and then I can use Pecharunt to bring the Roaring Moon back up into play and then attack again. It is actually surprisingly helpful and has won me a couple of games. Then, single copy of Ditto, transformative start. If it's in the active, I could search my deck for any basic Pokemon, throw this guy into the discard pile, and then lay down whatever Pokemon. So, I could lay down Kangaskhan, which would be a terrible idea, but it's an example. It's what was right there. Really, if I have nothing else in play, I would want to lay down a Squawkabilly, because then I can discard my hand and draw 6 new cards. Now, granted, you can only use Transformative Start during your first turn, but that's pretty much the only time you're ever going to need it. And then lastly, Fezandipiti. I don't even need to comment on it. We all know what's good at this point. Now, with this deck, there are 3 supporters you're not really going to be seeing a lot in any other deck. Firstly, Sada's Vitality, which lets you choose 2 of your ancient Pokemon and attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to each of them. So if you have 2 Dark Energies in your discard pile and you have 2 Roaring Moon in play, you can attach a Dark Energy to each of them, and then you get to draw 3 cards on top of it. Meaning, if you combine that with an Energy Switch, you can Sada's Vitality, attach, Energy Switch onto the active Roaring Moon EX, attach for turn, Frenzied Gouging immediately in 1 turn. And it is incredibly powerful. It feels like I'm playing Dark Patch again, and it feels great. Then, there's 2 copies of Explorer's Guidance, which lets me look at the top 6 cards of my deck and put 2 of them into my hand, and then discard the other 4. Meaning, if I look at the top 6 cards, and I see 2 cards that I've been desperately needing, and the rest of it is just discard fodder, like some Ancient Booster Capsules, an Energy or 2, maybe an Artazon that I no longer have purpose for, I can just discard those, get those 2 cards, get to rolling. It's actually an incredibly powerful search card for this deck, and it also comes in handy quite a bit. Also, bro, look at the cut on this thing. This thing is atrocious. Then you have Janine's Secret Art, which lets you choose up to 2 of your... I have 2 of these, by the way. 2 of your Dark Pokemon. For each of those, search your deck for a basic Dark Energy and attach them to that Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. If you attach an energy from your deck to your active, though, it becomes poisoned. But once again, if you have an Ancient Booster Capsule attached, that doesn't mean anything. It's pretty much an early game version of Sada's Vitality, because then once again, attach, Energy Switch, attach for turn, swing for knockout. It's incredibly helpful. And for items, you got Night Stretchers, Ultra Balls, Earthen Vessels, Pal Pads, Super Rods, Energy Switches, Pokégears, Prime Catcher. It really just your usual deck staples and aggro deck staples. There's really nothing different about these. There's no fun special little things here. For tools, I run 3 Ancient Booster Capsules because those come in handy, and 2 Binding Mochi, which attacks used by your poison Pokemon, or used by the poison Pokemon this card is attached to, do 40 more damage. Meaning, if I don't have an Ancient Booster Capsule attached to a Baby Moon, and I want to do some additional damage, I can just Pecharunt it up into the active, poison it, get the additional 40 damage boost, and hopefully be able to swing for knockout after the poison boost. And then my Stadium, Artazon, lets me, once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic Pokemon without a rule box, so a non-EX Pokemon, and put it onto their bench. It's, again, just simple deck search for things like a Baby Moon. I have genuinely missed playing this deck, and I have been playing it on TCG Live with this current build, and it really just feels like I'm playing old Turbo Moon again. And I have missed it so much, and am so happy that I get to play it again. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, the whole thing.